Welcome back, everyone. We're currently at Diamond 354 LP, and we're coming off the back of a loss, so we're looking to mix it up. So I figured, why not bring out the Braum for the first time ever on the Korean server? Back home on OCE, I would describe my Braum as very, very aggressive, so it should technically fit in quite well on this server. But there's really only one way to truly find out. This game started off with the Ashe being a very aggressive ADC. 4 minutes later, the aggression is still being kept up and we've just secured the Xerath's flash. Now I'm seeing the Graves behind the tower. I'm assuming we're going for this tower dive, but I made a very big mistake. I didn't notice Graves had pinged that he wanted the camp. I go in way too soon. I both misread the situation and played the dive incorrectly. I was so focused on pushing the minions in that I didn't realize what was going on. Something that really shines in Korea is their ability to draft. This bot lane combo that we're up against, the Xerath and the Jhin, has the ability to all in their opponents from a distance with their ultimates. So it's important for us to initiate a fight before that ever happens. Overall, I would say that the bot lane went even. It was a lot of cat and mouse when it came to their ultimates. Something I was really trying to focus on doing during these early Braum games was pushing the champion to its limits. I didn't want to play reserve and ease my way into it. I wanted to go as ham as possible to figure out very quickly where my limits are. Any opportunity that I got, I'd always make sure I'm hiding in the brushes. Even though it was obvious, in order to get me out, they need to use their spells. And if they're using the spells on me, they're not using it on my ADC. Of course, just like this kill, there's always a chance for the enemy team to make a mistake. And boy, oh boy, did the enemy team make some mistakes. For whatever reason, this Akali just decided enough was enough and she didn't want to play this game anymore. A trend that was increasing the higher rank we got. We're currently watching the final teamfight of this game, even though I don't think it mattered at all. Sometimes you just get lucky, the solo queue gods grace you with a free win, and this was one of those games. The enemy team forfeits, and I don't blame them. We end up securing 19 LP, and this pushes us up to 73, so we're closing in on Diamond 2. Second game Braum, and the second time we've ended up in a 2v2 at level 1. While we win that in the bot lane, our team fights in the enemy jungle and they lose, so it's a bit of a coin flip. We won the bot, they win the top side. Once we had arrived back to lane, we had an item advantage which gave us lane pressure. Eventually, we pushed the wave in and was heading back for a reset, but before we managed to get to safety, the Nidalee appeared out of the river. I tried my best to save the Ashe, but there's only so much I can do. Now I'm in this position where I'm half HP and I don't want to allow the enemy team to recall, so I was trying to run through the brushes and potentially tag the enemy ADC with my Q, but I didn't manage to find the Jinx, and then I just stayed in the brush. Instead of recalling, which is what a normal person would do, we simply waited. It's been over a minute now since the Nidalee ganked our lane, and I still have not recalled. The enemy team is definitely thinking, there's no way he is still in that brush. But they've never burst me before, because yes, I was still in that brush. I'm sure very surprising for them, but for you guys who have been watching for a while now, definitely not surprising, not at all. We're once again in this position where we're trying to recall to spend the gold that we've made, but Ashe decided to recall in a funny location, and now I do something quite silly. I should have just recalled. There's a good chance they wouldn't have known I was behind that brush. I end up dying, this gives Jinx the passive, and out of nowhere, we now have 3 deaths on the board. While we're heading back to lane, obviously I didn't realize this at the time, but the Ashe says, why am I playing like a silver? For the record, I don't take full blame for what happened earlier. Ashe easily could have recalled in a better location. She also came back to try and steal the kill on Zyra and put herself in danger of dying to that Jinx. Although I guess that's a lot better than what I did right here, which is died to try and kill the Zyra plan for 3 gold. Whoops. We went from winning this lane to Jinx now having 3 kills. The main problem right now is that I'm not respecting the enemy. I'm used to everyone having weaknesses, but the truth is, in Korea, all these players, they all have a lot of mastery points on their champion. So even when you have them down and out, if you give them even a little bit of gold, they're gonna run back with it, and then all of a sudden they're in the lead, which is what happened this game. The time is 17 minutes. The enemy has a winning top laner, winning mid laner. The bot lane, they caught up. It's about even, but they're probably winning. The enemy jungler is winning by a lot. This game is looking very, very grim. Now the score, it's 17-27. If we don't find a way to turn this game around soon, we are basically going to need a miracle. But hey, who doesn't love a great comeback story? Something that's very important in this Baron fight, look where I'm positioning. I didn't go into the pit with my team. I positioned below the enemy. I'm pincering them out. The Udi is doing the exact same thing. He teleported in top. We're both forcing them to make a choice. If you want to damage our team on that Baron, then you're going to have to fight us. We secure that Baron and set up siege in the mid lane. Things, they're looking like they've just turned for the better. Cloud9, it didn't last for long. Some unfortunate events occurred all in succession. Irelia instantly died as soon as we went under the tower to kill Desira, and I know it looks kind of bad on me, but I don't think it is. We're gonna go back in time now and pay close attention to what the Lee Sin is doing. We've got the Baron for over a minute now, and he is just going from camp to camp, heading back to base to buy an item while we're sieging the tower in a 1-3-1. That's why they were able to collapse on us. We're now in the present, and the Drake is about to spawn. This is the third Drake for the enemy team. Lee Sin gets picked off before it spawns, and this gives the enemy team the free Drake. But while that's happening, Irelia is split pushing on the top side of the map, opening their structures. This is our win condition, and I attempt to protect him by cutting off the enemy team before they can reach the top side of the map. It was completely unnecessary. The Udyr got that inhibitor with or without our help there. We end up baiting the Ashen and getting him killed. But at the end of the day, you see a win condition and you need to do whatever you can to try and secure that win condition. For us, it's opening these side inhibitors, allowing us the chance to potentially backdoor and win. We attempted to rush this Baron. The enemy team committed everything they had to stop us, in which they succeeded, and then they rotate to mid. But pay close attention to the top side of the map. Udyr has just entered the broken inhibitor, and all we have to do is stop the enemy team from backing. Game number 2 is a triumph. We managed to come back and we win 20 LP. We're now only one game away from Diamond 2. Last video, we had 4 new members join. Thanks to all of you, including our very first high roller. Wow, Mr. Big Shot. Of course, there are plenty of perks to joining, including a bunch of channel emotes, but most importantly, you're gonna be supporting this channel, allowing us to travel to our next destination. Another game, another Ashe, and they do not like when you go AFK at the start because they really want to fight the enemy, I assume. The game starts off the same way I always start off with Braum. I play very aggressive, aiming to get control of these side brushes. Once you have that control, you can control the minion wave, and that allows you to get level 2 first. And from there, well, you're about to see. I don't know if this is the same ADC from the last game, because it might be, but we have the exact same issue where instead of going back, they want to overstay. I mean, it is so much easier to just spend your gold. Unlike last time, the jungler didn't show up at level 3. He didn't skip his buff to come and kill us, and we got to take advantage of it. Now my priority is to zone the enemy bot lane off of this wave. They want to farm, which all we need to do is keep ourselves between them and the farm, and they'll lose experience, they'll lose gold, but most importantly, if they want anything, they're going to put themselves in harm's way. You'll notice I'm doing the exact same play over and over. I pretend I'm walking away, and then I use my W to jump to the closest minion to them and try to tag them with the Q. It's still early days in this one, but the Nautilus, we're detecting some weakness in this player. We're 8 minutes into this game and he's already died 4 times. And while my team is off killing him, I sneak into the bottom brush. This is a very effective trick, mainly because the enemy thinks that I will be with my ADC, which means once the minion line passes the brush that I'm in, he assumes that surely I am behind my ADC. Okay, so be completely honest here. Without going back in the video, can you tell me right now who the enemy jungler is and what champion they're playing? I'm going to assume most of you answered you have no fucking clue because we haven't seen that jungler show up not once, which is a big difference from the last game. The correct answer was Vi. This seems like the perfect time to remind you guys that if you're enjoying this series, don't forget to leave a comment and like the video. It directly influences the algorithm. Recently, there's been a big uptick in views, and that's because you guys are leaving the comments. So far during this Korean series, I didn't remind you to leave a comment in one video, and I'm guessing you can pick out which one that is. Personally, I don't really believe the Rift Herald holds much weight. I would never put in that much effort to secure it. With that being said though, I do believe this was a critical team fight, which means our top laner, he should have teleported into this team fight long ago. I'm not even that concerned about the Rift Herald being stolen. Realistically, we want this team fight to go in our direction so that we can set up to take the next Drake. That is an important objective. Either way, this team fight goes completely in the losing team's favor. They get the Rift Herald and they pick up 2 kills onto our team, and now they're sieging the mid tower, but I'm not quite ready to give up yet. We're still in the driving seat, whether they realize it or not. The Nautilus dies for his 8th time. The Nautilus dies for his 8th time in 15 minutes. I'm not sure if he's inting or not at this point. It is a little suspect, but every time he dies, it allows us to open up into a team fight. These team fights, considering the score gap, they're not that clean. The enemy is managing to escape. The enemy is making it very difficult for us to kill them, as shown by this Akali. Maybe I was wrong about how useful the Rift Herald is. Never mind. It's just as bad as I thought it was. Anyway, let's focus back in and close this game out. The scoreline is now 23-12, 16 minutes into this game. It really feels like we're mid 20 minutes, but no, the clock isn't even 20, which means the Baron has not even spawned yet. Isn't it just absolute chaos? Team fight after team fight after team fight, and all for what? There are no objectives up. What are we fighting for? It is just wild. We've fast forwarded 5 minutes into the future. The Baron has officially spawned. The next team fight that we ace the enemy team in, we can look to close this game out. And I was trying to get that pick onto the Nautilus, but then we randomly saw Akali in our blue side. She was playing the best on the enemy team, so it was a little bit confusing to find her out of position. We end up throwing our ultimate at her and getting her summoner spells. But the thing that really stood out to me is the fact that she is the best player. She's used her summoner spells. She's low HP. This means that we can just start this Baron, and presumably we have the lead. We should be able to win the 4v4, and that's the logic I went for. So I forced the team to do this Baron, and we crossed our fingers. As it turns out, our Baron taking skills are not that great. It takes us quite a while to kill this thing, so the enemy team managed to regroup and try to engage onto us, but our team performed really well on the exit. Look how everyone is clumped together and focusing on the one target on the enemy team, the exact one that has no summoner spells. If we had all split apart into 2 separate groups, this could have been a very different outcome. Rather than recalling I stick around to help my team, people don't realize this in every single ELO. Just because you're low HP doesn't mean you're not useful. You are a target to bait the enemy team in. If they're focusing you, they cannot be focusing another carry. Trust me, there are so many people who just cannot get this through their head, and it always changes the outcome of fights. From that forced play, we managed to completely ace the enemy team, no deaths on ours, and we secure the Baron buff. Now we're looking to close this game out. We skipped through a lot of this game, but for a large portion of it, I was being an absolute nuisance. Our score is 1-2 with 24 assists. There were multiple occasions where the enemy team were doing stupid shit just to try and kill me, and this is another example of it. The game was over, and he just wanted his sweet revenge. We're definitely starting to enter a different bracket of diamond players. This bracket is including a lot more feeding, a lot more griefing, forfeiting, AFKing, you name it. It's definitely a lot more toxic. It's going to be a struggle to move past. I'm assuming this is between Diamond 2 and Diamond 1, but either way, we're going to find out because we just got promoted to Diamond 2. We're only a couple games away from reaching High Diamond in Korea. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like and comment on the video.
Y'all ain't on this level, bitches, Tilterella.